morning, y'all. This is the ryokan that I stayed in last night, and it's very pleasant. I'm going to stay there again tonight. And really quiet, nice and comfortable, perfect temperature, the works. So I can handle that. Looks like maybe the storm that was on its way either hasn't hit us yet, or I'm getting more the impression that it's clearly rained. I think we might have just got the edge of it, and maybe it's done. Hopefully, no more rain, maybe. So I'm going to go out today. And I'm going to, I was fully prepared to bunker down for the storm and just edit all day inside of that ryokan, but it's not raining, so I'm gonna go to the northernmost part of Japan right now. I don't remember who it was that I met somewhere along the road here, and they told me that Wakkanai was like, she said that, I remember it was a woman, that's all I remember. She said that it was not like Japan. She said it reminded her of Europe. I was like, okay, that sounds awesome. That's I mean, I'm not upset I came. I don't want this to come off as complaining, but like, that was a big part of like, oh, I'm gonna come here and check out this city that seems out of place. And I'm here now, and like, it just sort of looks like every other Japanese city. Like, it doesn't feel European at all. Maybe I haven't found the part that she is referring to. But like the main stretch area that it seems like all the local people like shop and, you know, go to for whatever, it's all like, it looks like it could be in Okinawa as far as I'm concerned. So the only thing that I've seen that's been remotely like even sort of European is there is a lot of Russian written on signs here. And I saw a couple of Russian dudes like outside of a convenience store, like a couple of Jay and Silent Bob looking dudes, but probably Russian. Just, I'm judging them based on how they're dressed, basically. But like that, yeah, that's all I've seen that's even like remotely European looking. And I think that there's a lot of Russian sailors that end up here and stuff because of the port here. And I've heard in the past that sometimes they can come into town and get a little rambunctious. So I'm trying to shake my Russian vibe a little bit here. I don't know how to, I don't even know what it is, so I don't know how to shake it, but I'm trying my hardest, just like smiling, you know what I mean? Trying to look like I'm not gonna be a sailor that's gonna jack you up. So this situation is kind of similar to when I went to the most eastern point of Japan in Hokkaido like last week or whatever in Nemuro, where it's not like, it's not a place people go. It's just on the outskirts of town, and like there's nothing there really except for, I'm assuming, like a monument that's like, yo, here's the most northern point, or in that case the most eastern point. So it's like Wednesday or something, I don't know, it's a day. And there's basically no cars going that way. Like I've been walking along this road trying to catch a ride for not a lot of time, but I'm just keeping an eye on the people that go by, and like these people are going to work, and they're going to work around here. Like you can just tell the way they're dressed, and like just they're alone in their car in their uniform or whatever it is, and they're headed that way. And I don't know if there's any tourists going out there right now. Maybe the weather has got everybody scared off, or maybe because it's the middle of the week. Like I don't know. So I'm not super sure if I'm gonna catch a ride or not, but a bus is pulling up. And I think he thought I wanted to get on, but I didn't. So anyway, I'm in a bus station now. And I think I'm gonna chill here, try to hitch. It's on the road on the way down, and if a bus comes before a ride comes, which a bus should be here in like 20 minutes, then I'll just take the bus. And like again, it's just like, there's like a cost and time benefit like equation balance that you have to weigh in your head. Like, is it worth waiting another hour or two to save the 500 yen or whatever it's going to take to just go and be there on the bus? And the weather might not hold out all day. I think I'm just going to do the bus. As much fun as it would be to just hitch it, because it is always fun. Sometimes you just got to make that sacrifice. All right, I made it. I hitchhiked it. Like a minute or two before the bus came, a guy stopped. That's how it always works out, it seems like. So anyway, a guy stopped and was like, "Hey, I can give you a ride there." I was like, "All right." So we just got to talking. I was like, "Why are you going this direction? Like, you know, like alone? Like you look like you're working or whatever." And he said that he was a music teacher and his school was along this route. And it turns out that he works for everything around here is the northernmost blah. So he works for the northernmost junior high school in Japan. So he was like, on the way there, he's like, so you want to stop at the school and check it out and have some coffee? I was like, all right, yeah, of course. So we stop at it, and it's a really nice school. Having been to like the school that Katie taught at and stuff, and seen other public schools, they're not like bad. They're just kind of grungy a little bit. But this one was like super clean, and partially perhaps because it was kind of new. It was only 10 years old, but it was like really just a beautiful facility. And the teachers were all really laid back and really friendly, which is a bit different than the experience that Katie had. Not that they weren't friendly, but the teachers were always like to the gills busy, just like slamming, always like running around, like always just ridiculously busy. And these teachers were all really laid back and chill, and it was a really cool thing to see. And they gave me a tour of the school. It didn't take long because it's only 25 students and they have 9 teachers. Like a really small facility. But when you walk up to it, you're like, oh, this is pretty big. But then when you look inside, you're like, oh, there's 3 classrooms. He points into a room with like 9 kids. He was like, that's the 8th grade. I was like, wait, that's all of them? And he's like, yeah, that's the whole 8th grade. It was really cool. So when we arrived, there was a guy, one of the teachers that spoke English, and he had lived in Africa for a few years and was telling me about his experience in Africa, and lived in Canada, and yeah, it was very splendid as always. But anyway, I've made it. So that monument that's behind me right now, that's the northernmost point in Japan. And as you can see, there's a line for photos. So I'm gonna have to go down there and I'm gonna have to get in line, get myself a picture. And yeah, like the dude told me like from here you can see Russia, like straight up, if it's not cloudy. But again, I don't know if it's ever not cloudy here in Hokkaido. My experience this summer has been clear days don't exist. I think I've just had bad luck with this year, but it's all right. It's still been an awesome adventure. Apparently they've got a monument here that will play a song that was written about this area that was popular in the 70s. So they got this button, and I'm gonna push it. Where's the music coming from? Over here, okay. It's a speaker. Oh man. Alright, there we go. I gotta juggle an umbrella for wind and everything. That's our jam. I hope YouTube doesn't issue a copyright takedown on this rock. I do have to admit this umbrella is working pretty good as a wind guard, but I'm worried about some like Mary Poppins style problems. Like I don't want to end up in Russia actually, you know what I mean? This plaque talking about the northernmost monument has got some interesting language. It says this monument marks the northernmost point of freely accessible Japanese territory. I wonder what they mean by that exactly. Is it free? Like, do they mean that because like there's probably some rock that you can't get to without a boat, or like do they mean that I wonder if there's a territorial dispute and that's what they mean? Because I was thinking about this a couple days ago about the easternmost place, and nothing said something like freely accessible, but not that I noticed. Everything was just like, this is the easternmost point, and at the same time they were saying that islands that were further east of that were Russian islands. The Russian islands that they were disputed, and they were like, those are Japanese islands. And I was like, but if you call this point the easternmost point of Japan, that's sort of saying that those islands aren't Japanese. So I thought I was thinking about that a couple days ago. I was like, they could use that. The Russian government's gonna take a picture of that plaque and use it in court. But this one's a little more ambiguous. Like I wonder exactly what freely accessible is meant to mean. So you got the monument, yeah? But then you've got the true northernmost point back here behind the monument. I mean, that's what I'm in for. Screw the monument, I want reality, you know what I mean? So here we go. I don't know, I don't think I'm gonna climb out on those rocks, but close enough, I guess. That's the real monument. They've got some stairs here you can go down. I guess maybe because so many people want to put their toes in the water, you know, like that thing I do. I don't know. Maybe so it's easy to just swim on over there to Russia. I'm not sure. We're gonna find out how ridiculously cold this water is, because something tells me we're not looking at real nice beach weather water here. Yeah. You know, it's not that bad. It's not like, you wouldn't swim in that. I mean, some people would swim in that, but I wouldn't swim in that. But it's more kind of like, you know how cold water beaches are? You know what I mean? Like when you're up in, like, you know, a cold place and the water is just sort of like slimy or something. It's kind of what's going on. It's definitely not swimmable. Why are there stairs? I guess just for what I just did. It's like a little village here that's been built up around this point, and it seems a little more well visited and well maintained than the place was in the most eastern part of Nemuro, which was, I mean, it was a big ghetto, let's be real. This seems kind of nice, and all the buildings have got something on them that's like, this is the northernmost blah blah blah. Like what I was saying earlier, northernmost school, northernmost point, northernmost everything. Like one of these buildings has got a thing on the front that says the latitude, longitude, and I think that's kind of cool, like north blah blah blah, 45 degrees, 31 minutes? Is that how you say that in English? I don't even know, but yeah. So 45 degrees, 31 whatevers. And I just realized it also says you can get the northernmost bukkake here. Bukkake donburi is served at that little shop. I want to apologize to anybody that understood that joke. It's actually a pretty nice little park on top of a hill here, and I guess you can, like, there's a walking path that they've got, and you can walk like quite a ways, like maybe 10 or 15 kilometers or something to connect to another place. So I don't know if I'm gonna do that because, again, like the weather might just shift on me and I don't want to be stuck out in the middle of some like walk path away from a road and have like a typhoon arrive. But it's really cool up here. You have a really nice view. I really wish it was clear, man. It would be unbelievable, I think, if it was clear. And they've got one of those signs that's like, you know, how far away it is to like places in the world, like Anchorage, Alaska, and Baguio in the Philippines. I don't know why they chose Baguio, but okay, maybe it's in, I don't know why they chose Baguio. I don't know, it is, whatever. So why they didn't put like a major city or something, like a major city. And places in Russia, and of note, they wrote Tokyo on here, and it's 1,106 kilometers away. So I hitchhiked a majority of that, minus the ferry ride that, I mean, I still haven't quite figured out how to hitchhike. Maybe on my way back I'll figure that one out. They've got a peace memorial up here that is here to memorialize people that were Japanese people whose ships were sunken by an American ship. And it also says that it is to memorialize the Americans who were then sunken by Japanese ships. Interestingly enough, they've named the memorial after the American ship, which is Wahoo, which is sort of just like a, I mean, it's kind of a goofy sounding name for a peace memorial because they've named the memorial after it. And they've also chosen a pretty weird font for the English. Like, it's not Comic Sans, but it's kind of close. It's strange how some of the letters are bigger and smaller than others. It just seems like they didn't run that one by somebody familiar with English fonts, because for a peace memorial, I think I would have chosen something a little more stoic. They've got quite a few different memorials here dedicated to different things of varying degrees of like seriousness, like the Peace Memorial and like, of course, just the Northernmost Point Memorial. And you start to kind of think like maybe if there's too many memorials, then they sort of start to detract from one another, and it's just like, it turns into just like a bunch of random things put together. And I was like, man, I don't know about all these memorials, you know? But then I found this one, and this one is my favorite by far because it's this couple, and they're just like, you know, looking off into the distance, all like, I don't know, romantically or whatever that look on their face is. But the purpose of the memorial is to commemorate Hokkaido reaching 1 million tons of milk production and 1.5 million head of dairy cattle. Not exactly something that you normally see memorials for, so yeah, I can get down on that. Well, memorial, is that the right word? Statue. I guess we'll call it a statue. Or memorial. This is the northernmost ramen shop in Japan, and they serve scallop ramen, and I'm not down on scallops, to be honest with you, so that's not going to be my thing. And the guy that ended up giving me a ride out here was like, hey, yeah, you can eat at this place, it's the northernmost ramen in the country. And I was like, oh, how is it? And he was like, it's not bad. So I don't think I'm missing a whole lot. I'd be willing to wager that's the northernmost shrine in Japan. The sun has started to come out a bit, and you can see some of the different blues in the sea. I really like that. I'm glad I got to see that while I was here. I think maybe the storm might be over. It's really like that. the way that the clouds were coming from is totally clear now. Wonderful. Flavor is okay. This one's maple. Still really dry cookie. I could use some real food. This says it's the northernmost rider house in Japan. And honestly, sometimes it's hard to tell, like, is that one, like, is it functional or is it dilapidated? I can't tell. Could go either way with the rider houses. I checked one, I don't know if didn't mention this last night. I went to one last night and I was like, yo, you know, there were beds available and everything. I was like, sweet. I was like, is there a shower? And they were like, no. And I was like, well, where's the closest place you can take a shower? And they were like, about 3 kilometers. And I was like, not gonna go 3 kilometers to take a bath. Like, that's just inconvenient. Like, if you have a bicycle, it's not too bad, you know, but like on foot or whatever, it's just a pain. So that's why I ended up where I ended up. So I'm walking along trying to find a ride, and I noticed a deer up on this hill, and it looks magical. It's like standing there all prestigious, and I took a picture of it. I'll drop the picture in. And like before I got a chance to take a video, it ran off, but it was barking at me. It was going like, meow, and it was like stomping its like hoof at me. So I don't know if I'm in its territory. I'm a little worried I'm gonna get jacked. Well, I grabbed a ride. It took a little while, maybe 45 minutes or something. I grabbed a ride with a guy. He like loves adventure. He's been to America, did like Greyhound bus tours, and been all over Southeast Asia and stuff. And now he's doing a train tour of Japan. And he seems like he's really into trains. He was telling me all about like how the train system used to be nationalized and now it's privatized, and like different types of trains, and like dude was like super into trains. He was cool. He was fun. Fun conversation, talking about things that I haven't talked about with other people, and that's fun. Like, it's cool when the conversation veers a little bit away from like, you know, the normal like, oh, where are you from and what food do you like and stuff like that. When it goes into places that you don't expect, that's a lot of fun. And he brought me back into Wakkanai, and I'm at the Wakkanai train station now, and it's a really modern looking, cool building, and of course it's the northernmost train station in the country, and I'm actually standing right in front of a sign that's like the northernmost train line in the country. So this is the end of the train line, and this is as far north as you can come on rails. Pretty cool. That is quite literally one of the best train stations I've ever been in. They have got this like upstairs area with like these really nice seats and this big area where you can lay down and take a nap if you need to and stuff, and lots of information at a tourist information area, and a really friendly lady who gives you like little flyers, and like it's done amazingly, and it's built for the type of people who come here. So people come here on bicycles, and they come here on motorcycle journeys and stuff, and they want to come and just have a bunch of information in one area, and maybe they want to take a nap, and they've like looked at the people that come, and they're like, what do these people need? And they perfectly built exactly what's necessary. That gets screwed up so often that when you see it done correctly, it's shocking. Like, they have just really thought out every little piece of it, and it's just a really wonderful train station. Blown away. But I still don't know, the one thing I can't find about this area that I really want to know is like food. And I ask people, I'm like, what's the common food here? And they're like, scallops, I guess. Like, that's the answer I keep getting. So I'm like, where's the restaurant that's amazing? That's what I want to try. I want to try the amazing restaurant. I had gyudon last night. That didn't work out. I mean, it was good, but it's not like, you know, special. Like, and then this morning I just had like, you know, a sandwich from a convenience store because I wanted to get moving. But I'm getting hungry and I want something amazing. Getting a little worried I'm going to end up at a convenience store again. I'm not exactly clear on the why, but there's this giant seawall that they built here. I mean, I understand why the seawall is here, but I don't understand why it looks like a Roman aqueduct system. It's a nice touch, don't get me wrong, but it's a little bit out of place, I guess. So it's got these huge columns and these archways and stuff. I guess on the other side of this, I haven't looked yet, but I'm assuming on the other side of this is going to be ocean. And maybe they have big storms or something that come and blow the wave up over this direction or whatever. So they've constructed this, and instead of just those big ugly blocks that they use in a lot of places, they've decided to build something a little bit of class. And class up the joint a bit, I guess. Yeah, maybe that's it. Now I see why it's here. Fits in perfectly. Yep, ocean. They've also stacked these big ugly blocks here, but they've kind of made it hard to see them from the city. So instead you get the dome that they call it. I don't know, dome, archway? I'm not sure what I would call that. Seawall, I guess, is the best thing. I'm gonna bet that's the northernmost of that thing that there is in the country. So regarding that school that I went to earlier, I apologize I don't have any video, but I mean, asking to break a camera open in a school that's operating with students in it is just not something I'm gonna do. Like I said, it was really like well built and well maintained, and like there were like 25 students and 9 teachers, and I started like wondering, like, why does that exist? How is it possibly financially feasible to have those kids there and not ship them to like another area, even if it took an hour or something, you know? Like, I'm just blown away that they would, it wasn't a shack, like this was a school, it was like a multi-leveled school. Like, how is that financially feasible? And I ended up talking to somebody else, and they mentioned to me that the fishermen in that area are quite wealthy, and perhaps because they are wealthy, they pay a tremendous amount of taxes, and that's why the school is able to exist. This is a guess, but it's the interesting part about the whole story is that in my mind, like, fishermen are, I don't know why, but like I think fishermen like not wealthy. Like, that's not what I think of when I think of fishermen. You think of like a fishing village, and you think of like people like, you know, they're getting by, but like they're not like, you know, they're not driving a Lexus, you know. But I guess for whatever reason, whatever they're fishing out of those waters in that area is a high-priced item, so the fishermen are doing all right. And the guy that had given me the tour of the school actually specifically mentioned that the students, almost all the students' parents work in the fishing industry in that little area, and I guess that's the only industry that exists, really, because even where we were at, that wasn't even a touristy area. So, yeah. Anyway, interesting little tidbit there, I guess. I hope. All right, bad news, good news. Bad news is I ended up at a convenience store. I'm starving. I haven't had proper food all day. I had that calorie mate. I had a sandwich for breakfast, but it's been a while. Anyways, so I came to Seiko Mato, which is their little jingle. And like I said before, I don't even remember. At some point I ate here because I heard that the bentos and stuff were fresh and really good. And it was okay. It was all right. So thought I'd give another one a shot. This time I've got a chicken and mushroom donburi. We've got these little guys here, mushrooms and some chicken and some sauce, and I have no idea what I'm getting into, but I like all the ingredients. That's good. A little bit spicy. Ooh, it's a little spicy. It's kind of got like a, it's vaguely like a Chinese-ish type of taste to it, like what you expect from not American Chinese food at all. Maybe not even Chinese food, but Japanese Chinese food. Sort of leans in that direction with that little bit of kick to it. Hey, it's good. And it sits on a bed of rice, so I'm happy. I realized what it reminded me of. It reminds me of mabo tofu. The dish that I guess at some point we made a video about getting some from 7-Eleven, and we incorrectly called it a Japanese dish, I think. I've never watched the video back, but I've gotten like a gazillion messages of people correcting us on that. When we first came to Japan, like, it was the first time we'd ever encountered that dish, so we didn't know. But now I am super cultured, and I understand that that flavor is sort of a Japanese interpretation of Chinese food. So I'm just walking through this little town, like going to another important endpoint area. And there's this beautiful little park here, and in this little park, there's deers. Like, deers? Is it deer? Deer? There's like, what's a bunch of deer called? A squad? Squad of deer? Just chilling in this little park. They're not barking at me either, so I feel like it's okay to get a little closer. These deer are probably pretty used to people because, like, not only are they not barking at me, but they turn their backs to me like they don't even care. I wonder if people feed them and stuff. I don't know. They're way too big. I'm not getting close. One of them's got horns. I don't want them messing me up. But they're pretty cool looking spots and everything. It's like Bambi, man. It's clearing up enough that I can see some mountains now. This little town is full of deer. I nearly walked into this one. It's a whole nother squad. Is it a flock? Pack of deer? Pack of deer? Flock of deer? Squad. We're going with squad. So in Japanese, they have different ways of counting different things. Like, the number system completely alters if you're counting like long skinny things, or small, like a round cylindrical thing, or a big animal or a small animal. It's really, really complicated. And it's sort of like the same situation we have with, like, what do you call a group of animals? Like, you know, what's a group of penguins, or what's a group of tanukis, or what's a group of whatever. Like, a whole bunch of hedgehogs, what do you call a bunch of hedgehogs? Like, you can guess, but a lot of times people are like, I'm not quite sure. This is another little cape that is positioned good for sunsets. So according to my little brochure, it is famous for a lot of people coming here to watch the sunset and stuff. And it seems positioned absolutely perfectly. They've got this sign on the wall as well that's like, the sun will set at this time. And of course they have to update that, like probably on the daily basis. You know how scientists are like, yeah, it'll set today at this time, and then tomorrow 26 seconds later, and like somebody's like checking that sign and then coming out there and flipping things around. I like that. But yeah, it looks like a really nice place for a nice sunset. And I don't think I'm gonna get a stunning sunset today because of the cloud cover, but things are clearing up, and it's the happiest sunset I think I've seen in a long time, just because that storm is going that way. I'm just really happy to see that leaving. And now I have to think, what do I want to do next? So my two options at this point are, there are two more islands that are about 60 kilometers from here that you can go to. And I kind of really want to go to one of them. I don't know why, just because. I think I want to be able to tell Japanese people, like, after the trip, yeah, I went to that island, because like they know that island. Like, yeah, I went there, I did that. So I'm thinking about that a little bit. And maybe not, I don't know. And the other option would be to head back south to Tokyo. So either way, I'm either going to those islands and then going back to Tokyo, or I'm going back to Tokyo. And I do plan to hitchhike it. So this series is going to continue, believe it or not, because it's probably, I don't even want to guess what month it is that you're watching this. This footage, how long it's taken me to edit all of this, and then like be posting other stuff with Katie, which is what I'm hoping to have done. It's probably, I don't know, is it spring yet? God, I hope it's not spring by the time you're watching this. My bad if it is, but I hope if at least it's been interesting. So I don't plan to take quite as long to go back to Tokyo. I'm gonna try to like actually just cook it. Cook the bacon. Cook the bacon back down to Tokyo. Go kind of, not as fast as I can, but I just want to hit one more city in Hokkaido on the way out, and then maybe a couple of places along the way to get back to Tokyo, and then be back with Katie. I've got a English lesson that I have to teach on the 29th, so I have about a month left. I don't think it'll take that long though. I imagine I'll be back in, I told Katie last night, I guesstimate 10 days. Hey, I see a ferry. You know, I wonder if that mountain that I see is one of those islands. I bet you it is. I'm gonna check. Hey, my guess was right. I asked somebody, this is that island. It's one of those two islands that I can choose from, for sure. That's awesome. Now I want to go to it because it's big and it's got a cloud around the top, and it reminds me of that island we went to in the Philippines. The name has slipped my mind. It was really cool though. We stayed in the cloud. It was awesome. So now I want to go to this place and stay in another cloud if possible. Well, I've been staying in clouds long enough. I think it might be time to stay in a clear area. I met this wonderful older man. He looked like he was 50 and he was like 75. He's got grandchildren like that are like in middle school and stuff, and I was like, yeah, you look about 50 years old, because he asked me to guess. And anyway, so he was just wonderful, and he was there with his wife, and he said he was from Osaka, but his wife was from Hokkaido, and he told me that women from Hokkaido are the best women in Japan. And I was like, why? I was like, he didn't follow. He spoke English. He wanted to speak English with me, so we were speaking English. I was like, why are they the best? And he didn't follow what I said. I was like, well, are they like the most beautiful? Are they smartest? And he looks at me. He goes in English. He looks at me. He goes, nighttime. I was like, oh dang. And his wife was like, she didn't speak English, and she was like kind of standing next to us, and I was just like, okay, rock on, bro. So that sunset spot was about 3 or 4 kilometers outside of town, and I had just walked there earlier. And on the way back, it's getting a little cold, a little breezy, a little cold. It's not too bad in the city, but it was a little bit cold out there on the Cape or whatever. And I was gonna grab the bus, and as soon as I walked up to the bus shut its doors and drove away, like, not like rudely, but like I was like just barely there. And I was like, well, so I put my sign out, and like the third car that drove by picked me up. And I saw some of the people that were on the bus, and I guess the bus went a slightly different route because now I'm walking down the street in the city. You know, it was like a 5-minute ride, and the bus with those people that I missed just drove by. So I beat it. This is amazing. Oh, anyway, I forgot to tell you, the guy that picked me up, I like to talk about those people, like explain what their situation is. He is on his vacation. He was like a rough kind of dude. He's an auto mechanic, and he lives in Toshimaku, which is the same, not prefecture, ku, what is ku? Ward, that Katie and I live in. So we were like, whoa, that's pretty crazy. And he's just like in this van, and he's like, I've just been sleeping in the van for the whole trip. And he said, I was like, why'd you come to Hokkaido? Like, why'd you decide to come up here? And he was like, because I've never been here before. That guy and this guy have a very similar outlook on how to travel. Got a tourist map that labels this railroad crossing as the northernmost railroad crossing in Japan. Very important stuff. You can see the train station just right up the tracks. Alright, so I was gonna go to the sushi restaurant, but on the way there I found a Russian restaurant, and I was like, well, that's not something I know anything at all about. So I looked at their menu, and it's a list of Russian stuff in Japanese. I can't read any of it. I mean, I can phonetically read it, but I have no idea what any of it means. It's just words to me. Something in there says salad. That's all I know. So they brought out a few things, and I ordered a course, and I just ordered it because it was the cheapest course. That's the only reason I picked it. And they're gonna just they've been bringing food out like non-stop since I ordered it. So let's see, I'm gonna try some of what they brought me. So first off, this is the utensil box. I like the little, you know, the little Russian doll things. What are they called? I don't know. Oh, hey, there's chopsticks in there. Not sure the etiquette here. Chopsticks or fork, Russian food in Japan. All right, so this I believe is a beet salad. And this is a piece of bread with something inside of it. And this, your guess is as good as mine. This is awesome. I love that I can't read any of it at all. Alright, so we're going to start with some beet salad. So I guess it's like potatoes. And beets, maybe? Yeah. Yeah. I think. A couple days ago I couldn't tell what flavor a gummy was, so I don't trust myself. That's nice. I could eat some more of that. And I will. Alright, next up. A piece of bread with stuff inside, maybe. I'm just going to eat it with my hand. I don't know if that's proper or not, but what are you going to do? That's good. It's like like one of the Chinese dumpling things, yeah, because it's got the stuff inside, but stuffed inside of a really good like European style bread. Okay, so there's pieces of meat. Oh damn, that's really good. And maybe some onions, and I think egg is in there. Ooh. That's really good. I think this thing is called a, let's see here, Piroshiki? Who knows how it's said in Russian, but that's what the Japanese. Piroshiki. Oh man, that's a really good snack. I can get down on a couple of those. Alright, and the last thing, I'm going to use a spoon, I guess? I don't know. So it's this thing. And on, what this looks like to me is beni shoga. Like pieces of pickled ginger. But something tells me that's probably not what it is. I don't know. It's warm. It's a mild flavor. It's like a soup, definitely. I have no idea what that is. It's good though. It's it's a good flavor. It's not a strong flavor, but it's like a full flavor, like a comforting flavor almost. Vegetable-y a little bit. I don't know. Maybe that's a chunk of potato. That's just a guess, like Russian potato, right? That's a thing, right? That's good. Some carrots in there too. Yeah, I think it's a potato. I don't know, man. I'm bad at that. This is this is fun. It's flavors that are very, very different than Japanese flavors, obviously. So that's really fun to try that. And it's like this. You said this was like a Russian oolong tea. It's much more mild in flavor than oolong tea is. It's not bad. It's just not. I really like oolong tea a lot, so I think this is just kind of like it's kind of just not that exciting for me. It's okay though. It's not bad. I think more things are going to be coming out, but I'm not 100% certain. Maybe like a stick of meat or something. I think that's what's in the picture. I'm excited about that stick of meat. I'm eating more of the soup, and it's very vegetable soup, like American style vegetable soup, with maybe like a few spices in there that wouldn't be normal for an American meal. But just the way that all of the vegetables have seemingly been cooked in there a long time, and there's cabbage in there, which is a good addition. And I think that the cabbage is kind of the overwhelming flavor, oddly enough, because cabbage, isn't a really strong flavor, but it tends to be like the base of the flavor is based on that cabbage, and then there's been some spices and stuff that have added to it to make it exciting. Okay, something else just arrived, and it just straight up looks like Chinese food. So, what? Alright, so those are like flat out dumplings, right? Let's go. Let's see what we got. Alright, and they just came out. They're really warm. So, here we go. Really hot. Seems to be some meat inside. It's very much like what an American Chinese restaurant would serve as dumplings. Like wonton soup. It tastes like a wonton, like straight up. Like an American wonton. Whoa. Okay, is that Russian? Did some American Chinese entrepreneurs get something confused at some point and start selling Russian food as wonton soup? Or is it just because they're kind of close to each other, so maybe they share that part of their cuisine? Oh, that's good. I'm not disappointed in anything. This is all very fun. Alright, an animal on a sword just showed up. And I got a piece of it. I don't know what kind of meat this is. It looks like lamb, if you ask me. Like, that looks lamby to me, but who knows? Oh god, it's really, really good. There's like a lemon or something. Oh my god. That's fantastic. It's spiced really well, and it's very soft in a good way. It's easy to chew. The texture is spot on. That's amazing. I'm gonna ask the guy what kind of meat that is. I'm really curious. I'm gonna bet lamb. I only have 3 more pizzas, so that's the main problem here. Apparently it's pork. I don't think I've ever had pork that is that, like, soft. Like, usually, like, a pork chop is a little bit, like, not chewy, but, like, a little tougher. This is really, really, like, this is really easy to chew. Like, a baby or an old person with no teeth could probably get down on this. And I would recommend it to both of them. The cabbage soup also had a couple little pieces of meat hiding in the bottom, and they were, I believe, also pork. The flavor was really good, but it was obvious that they had used a less good cut, but it had absorbed so much of the soup flavor that it was still a pretty delightful little surprise. I didn't expect to find like a chunk of meat in my vegetable soup. Pardon my slur, y'all, but like a pony happened. Not the whole thing right now, like this has been a couple days worth of adventure, but anyway, it was laundry day, so I came into a Japanese laundromat, and I think this is the first time I've ever had to use one before, to be honest with you. And I don't know if I've ever used one in America either. So tell me if this is normal. Like, so the machine is like, that's a washing machine and a dryer at the same time, which that's pretty nice, yeah. And it also like dispenses the soap into the machine on its own. And look at this, there's this button on here. And if you push this button, so this one is not being used, right? So, what? Okay, there we go. So if I push this button on here, it's gonna start to clean the machine. So it like cleanses it from somebody else's funk, right? Yeah, see? And it's for free. So I mean, I could go and I could clean all the machines, but I'm not gonna be that guy. But yeah, so you put your clothes into it, you push like whichever, this is like for a lot of clothes, this is for not a lot of clothes, you push whichever button you want, and then it's kind of expensive, like that's like $8 and that's like $10. And then it washes all the clothes, like it adds the soap, washes all the clothes, and then dries them. And it didn't become super clean, or it didn't be that pony, messed me up, y'all. It didn't become super dry, so I'm running it one more time for another 10 minutes or something for 100 yen, and then hopefully after that we'll be in good shape. But for now, I think I'm gonna go to the supermarket, see if I can find some, I want a Snickers. This is not okay. I drank too much wine. Look at it getting clean. This is blowing my mind right now. You guys are amazing. Yes. Look at this. This is specifically for a futon, so you can watch a Japanese futon. I think I probably explained this a million times, but like a futon in America is like a big thing, and a futon in Japan is just the mattress thing. So anyway, you can bring your futon in here, and you can wash it, and then you can dry it. Like this is a futon dryer, straight up. Look at that thing. Like you lay the futon, like yeah. Whoa, it's really warm in there. Somebody has recently dried their futon. Ooh. Shoes. It's a shoe washer or dryer, I guess. Everybody, this is the washer. Whoa, look at that. Is this trivial? Is this all stuff that like exists in all laundromats and I'm just like a spoiled white guy and I don't know that? Or is this Japan stuffs? I don't know, I'm fascinated. I hope my clothes finished in 3 more minutes. Man, it only took me 7 minutes to make a video and then play with a yo-yo and eat a Snickers. Crazy. Alright, I'm gonna save you any more trouble of watching this. I apologize in advance. Wait, in not advance, whatever advent that. Oh. At home, we live in the world of sun drying your clothes. So like I don't often get to experience the deliciousness of taking something out of the dryer and putting it right on. I just put this guy on. It's pretty nice. If you have that thing you can do at home, like you know, you got a dryer and all that, take advantage of it and love it. It's like a skit from Seinfeld or something, right? Where you like cook his shirt in a pizza oven or something. I'm feeling that right now. It's lovely.
We're pretty sure that you, if you're already here into this much of the hitchhiking situation, you have already subscribed. So we won't even bother with the subscription, but definitely go onto Facebook or Twitter or jump into Patreon if you want to get a little more involved, just to see what's going on outside of the YouTubes.
Again, if you're really into this series, our website is cool. The coolest place for you to probably check out as well. Like just because there's pictures and stuff for like every episode and everything, so that expands a little bit on the story.
I just sent like a link to a friend of our Myanmar area, and I was like, oh, I like this a lot.
The website,
the video, and the pictures. Yeah, even I like it. I mean, that seems stupid to say, but like I look at it a lot, and I see it a lot, and I know how it's made, and I still like it.
So there's going to be a little bit more hitchhiking coming, but the series will be coming to an end probably in a couple or a few more episodes. I still really don't know how many it'll be because I don't really look at the footage that far ahead, but there's a little bit more coming, and the next couple episodes I think will be really cool because they're in really kind of unique places that I don't think very many people get the opportunity to visit. So I'm excited to like expose that a little bit.
You got a question?
Yeah, I got a question.
I heard it's not involving me, so I'm
Yeah,
just
well,
gonna
I mean, if you got feedback, then you got feedback. Brandon from over at Patreon asked me specifically about the hitchhiking series, and it's possible that I'm going to address this later as well, like in the hitchhiking series. I might have talked about it towards the end, but I thought, given some time has gone by, I'll try to explain it from my perspective now. And his question is, during the hitchhiking trip, did your Japanese noticeably improve because of increased reliance on it? Or were you still using English enough while recording videos and during calls with Katie that my Japanese didn't change so much? I could talk about it probably for a really long time and like get really detailed and really like technical about it, but the basic answer is yes. My Japanese got a lot better while I was doing this because I was using it constantly every single day. And at the same time, learning another language, especially something as complex as Japanese, you start to have this like problem where the more you know, the worse you are, because you start, I mean, like, I'm better at communicating with people, but like I see like, oh wait, I made that mistake, or I see other ways to say things that I didn't realize I could have used, and like it's like this box that you open and you're like, okay, the box is only this big, but like inside the box is a universe. You know what I mean? And like the more you understand, the more you realize you're terrible at it. And I think that a lot of people probably feel that way about language when they're learning it. So to put that into like, to give an example, like what would end up happening is like at the beginning of the trip, I would get in the car with people and like, of course I can do like normal, like, you know, oh, I'm from blah, blah, blah. And like, this is my basic like story or why I'm doing this. And like, you know, talk to them about them a little bit and stuff. But as the trip went on, I got really, really good at that. And I ended up like that really basic shallow conversation. I got like extraordinary at it. So what would end up happening is I would get in the car with a person and like for like an hour the conversation would be like super good, like really, really good, because it was like essentially the same conversation that I had 70 times already. You know what I mean? And then like all of a sudden we would hit something and I would be like, because they'd start talking to me like I was like a native speaker. Like they'd be like, oh, his Japanese is really good. So like they would start just like dropping like local colloquialism. How do you say it? Colloquialisms. I can't. English is hard. They would start dropping just like, you know, native style speaking, and I was okay with it in that sense. But then we would just like, you know, we'd start talking about their job or something, and they would do something technical. Or a good example is that farmer that I met. Like we did fine in the car, and then we got out, and like then we were talking about like planting things in certain places and at certain like depths and certain different types of seeds, and I've never talked about that in Japanese. Like I don't know how to farm in Japanese, so all of a sudden it's just like boom, you hit this wall. And like then they're kind of like have to make this little adjustment, like they're like, whoa, what's going on here? Why does he all of a sudden not understand what's happening? So this is just kind of like, it's a bit strange. So the short answer is that my Japanese got very good in certain ways, and I'm still very obvious that there is a lot that like I know nothing about, you know, like so. It was a very good experience linguistically though, and I think a lot of it was just, it made me like kind of get outside of my shell a little bit. Like I have to do this in Japanese. These people do not speak any English. Like if I want to convey this information, you have got to use Japanese. So it forced me to rely on it, which is a good thing, and that was like a huge part of it that was really, really fun. And he actually asked a follow-up question as well, dealing with regional dialects and things, like did I have any problem with that? And for the most part, when you first meet somebody in Japan, like they look at me and like I think they you know, first off, they're not going to think I'm going to speak Japanese very well, if all. And then when they realize I can like function, they use fairly standard Japanese with you when they first meet you, like when you're a giant white guy in like remote Hokkaido most of the time. And then, of course, like I said, it would sort of get more difficult, but I still kind of... It's not too bad in Hokkaido, to be honest, at least the way that people were speaking to me. But there was this one time at the beginning of the trip when I was in Aomori at the Nabuto Matsuri, and that was like one of the first episodes with those big floats and stuff that were going by, and then the finger bang bench and all that. This old man came up to me, and he just...
Nobody remembers the floats. Everybody remembers
fingers bang.
Finger
Is that what you
bench.
remembered?
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, finger bang bench. I remember the floats.
So this old man came up to me, and he just started talking to me, and I was like, there's no way he's speaking Japanese. Like, there's no way that what's coming... I mean, the conversation didn't move at all. I was just like, okay, is there like a Chinese guy here or something? Like, it didn't sound like Chinese, maybe Korean or something. I was like completely lost. And then a couple days later, I was in an izakaya, and they were talking about like local dialects, and they had this like this paper that showed like, this is what this means in their local dialect, and then this is what it means in standard Japanese. And the stuff that he had been mumbling at me was like on the paper. I was like, oh, he just speaks like this language stuff, but it's Japanese, but
Hokkaidanese.
Yeah, and at the izakaya there were other people there, and they were Japanese people from Tokyo, and they were reading these papers, and they're like, we don't understand this at all. So it was not just me, but yeah. So that was really the only time specifically that like I really just got stonewalled and like had no idea like how to communicate with the person. But for the most part, like yeah, it was. I mean, my Japanese got better, but it still sucks. Forever.
It's a small box, but it's a universe.
Yeah, it's a small box with a universe inside. It's really exciting, though, to learn language. I'm really glad I've worked on it. But, yeah, that's basically it. Do we have videos coming up in the future? We got this will be after this. I'm taking another Borneo video. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to start editing that tomorrow. So that'll be up like in a week after they see this, essentially. And then we shot something yesterday. I don't know if we're going to talk about it yet, but it's weird. And I don't know how we're going to put it on YouTube. I'll just let that float out there.
I have good memories.
Yeah, it was a really fun experience, but I have no idea how I'm going to put this on you. Are you guys willing to watch something on like Pornhub? Like really? That's where we're going with this, basically.
Yep.
Because I don't know where else to put it.
Yeah, I'm really lost on it. It's got to get up there, that's for sure.
Yeah, we got to share this footage somehow. So I don't know. Maybe I'll put a Dropbox file with just a video they can download or something. I don't know. It's crazy. So anyway, I hope everybody's looking forward to that. And yeah, that's about all.
Yep.
Take care, everyone.